Senator Grassley, this is Mario Rossi from WOI. How are you?
You're a regular on here. I'm glad. Thank you for participating.
Thank you. I appreciate it. When you're going through these weeks of introducing legislation, and a lot of the news seems to be revolved around the inner workings of the White House, people leaving, new people being named, are you in tune with a lot of that stuff? Does that ever come across your plate in terms of how you go about things? Seemingly the tariffs against aluminum and steel are one of the big points of contention within the White House. How does that kind of inner workings either play in or not play into kind of what you're trying to do now with legislation?
Well, a lot of it doesn't affect legislation that we're dealing with on a regular basis here, and particularly something that's very imminent, because a lot of these decisions of who's hired and fired to work in the White House is something just within the institution of the presidency that we don't have any control over anyway. Maybe when I get involved in it as people in your profession like you're doing right now, you say, well, what do you think of so-and-so getting fired? You know, they want a reaction. Then that's that involvement more or less after the fact. A lot of places, though, like you bring up about the tariffs and ethanol, you didn't bring up, but I could use those two as an example. We have massive input into the White House, you know, on tariffs. Maybe 3 weeks ago, 10 or 12 of us on the Finance Committee, we have jurisdiction over trade. We went to the White House and had a whole hour or more to discuss this issue with the President of the United States. I've had 2 meetings on the RFS and ethanol at the White House with other senators, and also another meeting with senators and the private sector petroleum and ethanol industry people. So we get input at that point. The extent to which the particular points you make are the White House might go along with, or they could entirely ignore them. But I think, for instance, in the case of the White House not applying the tariffs to Mexico or Canada, that fits in with something that members of Congress had a great input. We also suggested that he should not move ahead with the tariffs, but obviously he did. So some change as a result of congressional action, but some as the president wants to proceed as he has the authority to do under existing law.